All right. Well, our next guest was fined $28,000 for walking in the woods in Nova Scotia. Remember when the communists that run Canada banned hiking over fears that sneakers might cause wildfire? Yes, it's true. Canada is run by jackasses. Well, our next guest posted this video and it's gone absolutely viral. Watch.
Hey everybody, Jeff Evely here, out in Nova Scotia on Mountain Road in Coxheath. And as you can see behind me, this is the woods. But over here, this is not the woods. This is the Department of Natural Resources, where the conservation officers work, who issue $25,000 fines for going in the woods.
Unbelievable. Well, Jeff Evely was peaceful protesting Nova Scotia's ban on hiking, arguing that they allow workers to drive around in ATVs through the forest, but not hiking. ATVs emit exhaust, they have potential sparks, cause wildfires. They're 100 times more likely to start a fire than a man in sneakers with a dog on a walk. Jeff Evely is a People Parties candidate. He was the man slapped with that fine. There he is. There's his candidates page there on the People's Party of Canada, and Jeff joins us now. Jeff, wow. Did you have any idea that this thing was going to blow up the way it did? Or I think it's because when I see something like this, I think it's a reflection. So many people are so fed up with their government stepping on just their basic values. I want to take a hike and you're going to slap me with a fine. And I think that the reason it hit 5 million or 6 million views is just because of that outrage, would you say?
Yeah, I think that people have had some time to really digest what's happened over the last few years, especially in light of COVID here in Canada. And the more these people open their mouths and jump the shark, the more people wake up to the fact that there's something really wrong with our governments in Canada.
Well, when you think about how the Canadian government used hate science in order to vilify the anti-vax, the unvaccinated, I don't want to use that term, the unvaccinated, they tortured those people and then used fake math models. And so it's crazy to think that you can't do something as healthy and natural as walking in the woods, and yet they're going to persecute you if you don't take their pharmaceuticals. These are just blaring juxtapositions, don't you think?
No, they seem to be pretty consistent. I mean, we have to pay for things that we don't need, that don't necessarily help and often harm our health, to line the pockets of the donor class. This is just another one of those things that used to be accessible to everybody, that's good for everybody, that's certainly good for mental health and physical fitness, that you just can't access without paying anymore. And I think perhaps even a more salient example than the ATV riding would be the fact that the campgrounds are still open. I was actually on a campground just recently while we were traveling around with James O'Keefe. He was in the neighborhood. And I took a walk out and did a video just to show, like, this is absolutely a wooded area. And while we were stopped, we saw one of the campers flick their cigarette into the woods. It seems to be the case that as long as somebody's making money off it, then you can have it. But you're not free to simply walk into the woods, as is your birthright.
So can you explain, like, what are they saying is the reasoning for you not being allowed to hike in the woods?
Well, they have yet to say that because we are taking them to court. The Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms has stepped in to provide my legal defense. And on that note, I'll say I'm not taking any donations myself. So if you want to help me win back our freedoms, you can donate to jccf.ca. We actually were supposed to have had the record, as in all of the information that the government used in coming to its decision to ban everybody from the woods, the justification for that, but we haven't seen that yet. So it looks like the government lawyers have some work to do in pulling together these documents, and I am skeptical that they even exist.
So
there's not.
How are they justifying the fine?
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, I was going to say. There's no like long-standing Canadian tradition of like hiking with Roman candles and like lit torches and stuff like that. That's not what they're going after. It's just normal hiking, right? I understand that's how you do it in Canada too.
Yeah, it's severely normal hiking, taking my dog for a walk out in the woods. A lot of the stuff that you'll encounter online, or even, I guess, kind of the commentary that's coming out of the political class, is that, it's not you. It's all these dumb people who will flick their cigarette butts. But we don't ban driving to prevent people from driving drunk. And 88% of Nova Scotians don't even smoke. The issue here, I think, is one of whether or not these decisions are constitutional. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms in Canada is part of our Constitution, and they may interfere with my liberties when it is justified to do so, but such interventions must be logically connected to the goal. There is no logical connection between banning my sneakers from the woods and preventing wildfires, and also they must be minimally impairing, so proportional, and there doesn't appear to have been any consideration given to any lesser measures that might have been more minimally impairing to my liberties. They went all the way to a full-scale ban from the woods.
Hey, if you're like me and you're maybe getting up there in age a little bit and you're feeling sluggish, a little tired, and your body seems to ache all of the time, then you're not alone and you need to listen up. So everything that you're experiencing may be because of the signs of a clogged liver. And that's where our friend Dr. Josh comes in, because you probably heard about how important your liver is for detoxification, digestion, and energy levels. Well, here's the thing. Most people have no idea how clogged and overburdened their liver actually is. And Dr. Josh has been teaching his patients that eating processed food, drink, and even stress, these things can take a toll, leaving your liver clogged. It's important to not let this go unchecked, because your liver is the most important organ in your body, being responsible for proper function of nearly every system in your body, from digestion to metabolism to detoxification. Essentially, a healthy liver equals a healthy you. That's why Dr. Josh, a practicing doctor with over 25 years of medical expertise, formulated a special liver supplement called Ultra Liver that acts like a deep cleanse for your entire body. And guess what? He told us that the Ultra Liver just crossed over 500,000 bottles sold and has received thousands of 5-star reviews from happy customers and patients. So you got to try it today. If you're looking to unclog your liver, he'll put his 25 years of experience on the line to make sure that it does actually what it's supposed to do. So all you need to do right now to unclog your liver, flush your dangerous toxins that are sapping your energy and preventing you from losing weight, just go to tryultraliver.com/redacted. That's tryultraliver.com/redacted to get your hands on Ultra Liver today. By the way, it's your lucky day, because actually Dr. Josh is running an end of summer sale right now where you get an additional 50% off for a limited time. So go to tryultraliver.com/redacted.
Do you think there's some level of shirking the responsibility for keeping the public safe? Because I assume that you pay your taxes to have firefighters who can then mitigate this when it does happen, and they can't catch everything. My son was riding his bike through the woods just a few days ago, and we have forest fire risk in Colorado too. It's a dry season, and he saw some teenagers making a fire in the woods, and obviously, that's not within the bounds of the rules, but people just do. And there's always going to be some idiots or some young people, right? And so that's the fire department's responsibility.
Well, I wouldn't put the blame on the average firefighter, but there has been a lot of noise around senior management. The Halifax Firefighters Union actually released a statement after the last time this happened, which was in 2023. We had a full-scale ban on entering the woods during the Nova Scotia wildfires, and at that time, I thought that was an overreach, and I submitted judicial review at that time. But the judge told me that because I wasn't fined, I didn't have standing. We can't stand on our rights alone in a Canadian court. There has to be money involved. So when they came back this time, I knew I had to go take the fine just to get it in front of a judge to have it reviewed in light of our charter rights. But they've, they keep making these public statements, like I said, and jumping the shark. And one of the most recent ones, after they had 50 millimeters of rain in one area of the province, they came out and they said, yeah, we had rain, but there still are some areas that are pretty dry, and we don't have the resources to fight these fires. So we're going to have to keep you locked down. And so they're saying openly that their failure to plan and lead and manage these responses responses constitutes an emergency on the part of the rest of us. So their inability to accept responsibility for the duties with which they've been charged by the public is entirely the reason. They're even saying so, that they have the rest of us locked down right now.
Well, thank you for reframing that question. I didn't mean to blame fire departments or firefighters, but yes, a general municipal responsibility seems to be being shirked.
Well, we had David Creighton on the show just a few minutes ago, journalist from out of Ottawa, and he said this is like tyranny. This is like COVID 2.0, really, with like lockdowns and the tyrannical government. Do you agree with that?
The parallels are striking. The first video I did, actually, that did go viral, at least by Canadian standards. I think it's at about 900,000 views right now. But I kind of did like a funny video mocking the measures that they had put in place. The first day that I showed up in the park by my house, where they had certain areas of the park that were taped off because those gravel pathways are the woods, and these other gravel pathways that I was allowed to walk on apparently are not the woods. So it actually goes further, I think, than people want to admit. It's not that they're even telling us that we have to stay out of the forest. Like, their idea of what constitutes the forest is the park in the park right next to my house. I can't even walk my dog over there. So just the arbitrarity and the caprice, I believe Christopher Hitchens once said, are central to the essence of totalitarianism, and that's what we're living under right now.
Right. Yeah, it's like Governor Cuomo. You can have a restaurant. What was it?
It was like they called it the COVID meal or something during COVID. You couldn't have a bar open unless there was also food.
Yeah.
So these bars were serving like chips and salsa, and then they were just throwing it all away. It's just
so
nonsensical.
Arbitrary. Jeff, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thanks for your bravery of trying to walk in the woods. Oh my gosh. And then getting slapped with this fine in order to teach us all about the tyranny. But I think your message is resonating loud and clear, so I think it's carrying a lot of weight. And thank you for sharing your story with us, Jeff. We appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.